Have you ever met someone who seemed to think they were a genius, even though they didn't know what they were talking about? If so, you've encountered the Dunning-Kruger effect, a cognitive bias that causes people with limited knowledge or expertise to overestimate their abilities. Why does the Dunning-Kruger effect happen? There are a few reasons why the Dunning-Kruger effect occurs. One reason is that people with low knowledge may not realize their own limitations. They may simply not be aware of how much they don't know. Another reason is that people with low skills may not be able to accurately assess their own abilities. They may not have the experience or feedback necessary to make an accurate judgment. Finally, people with low skills may be more likely to seek out information that confirms their beliefs and ignore evidence that contradicts them. This is known as confirmation bias. Real-world examples of the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect can be seen in many real-world situations. For example, there is the case of MacArthur Wheeler, a bank robber who thought lemon juice would make him invisible to cameras. He walked into a bank wearing no disguise and robbed it at gunpoint. He was quickly caught, and when the police showed him the surveillance footage, he was shocked to see that he was clearly visible. Another example of the Dunning-Kruger effect is the Flat Earth Society. This group of people believes that the Earth is flat, despite overwhelming scientific evidence to the contrary. They are so convinced of their beliefs that they are willing to ignore all evidence that contradicts them. How to avoid falling into the trap? The Dunning-Kruger effect can be a dangerous trap, but it is possible to avoid it. Here are a few tips. Be open to learning and feedback. The first step to avoiding the Dunning-Kruger effect is to be open to learning and feedback. This means being willing to admit that you don't know everything and that you are always learning. Challenge your assumptions. It is also important to challenge your assumptions. Don't just assume that you are right. Instead, be willing to consider other perspectives and be open to the possibility that you might be wrong. Seek out diverse perspectives. The best way to challenge your assumptions is to seek out diverse perspectives. Talk to people from different backgrounds and experiences. Read books and articles from a variety of sources. This will help you to broaden your horizons and see things from different angles. Conclusion: the Dunning-Kruger effect is a real phenomenon that can have a negative impact on our thinking and behavior. For example, it can lead people to be overly confident in their abilities in tasks that they do not have the skills to perform. This can lead to poor decision-making, mistakes, and even harm. However, by understanding this effect and developing strategies to overcome it, we can become more realistic, self-aware, and effective in our lives. Imagine that you are learning a new language. In the beginning, you may feel like you are making rapid progress and that you can easily understand anything you hear or read. However, as you learn more, you realize that the complexity of the language is much greater than you originally thought. You start to see mistakes that you didn't see at first and you realize that you still have a lot to learn. This is an example of the Dunning-Kruger effect. In the beginning, you did not have the knowledge and skills to accurately assess your abilities. However, as your knowledge and skills increase, you start to see your limitations. This is a natural process and you should not be afraid of it. In fact, it is a good sign that you are learning and growing. By continuing to learn and being open to feedback, you can avoid the Dunning-Kruger effect and become a knowledgeable and skilled individual. Here are some other tips for avoiding the Dunning-Kruger effect. Seek help from people who are more experienced and knowledgeable than you. These people can help you identify your strengths and weaknesses and can help you improve in specific areas. Challenge yourself. Try to do things that are outside of your comfort zone. This will help you learn and grow. Be critical of yourself. Look for ways to improve yourself and don't be afraid to admit your mistakes. By following these tips, you can become more aware of your limitations and avoid the Dunning-Kruger effect. Additional tips: surround yourself with intelligent people. The people we spend time with can have a big impact on our thinking. If you surround yourself with intelligent people, they will challenge you to think critically and question your assumptions. Be willing to take risks. The only way to truly learn and grow is to take risks. Don't be afraid to try new things and make mistakes. Celebrate your successes. When you achieve something, Take the time to celebrate your success. This will boost your confidence and motivate you to continue learning and growing. By following these tips, we can all avoid the Dunning-Kruger effect and become more knowledgeable, competent, and confident individuals.